You guys, I think it's going to be important that we start on time for these meetings. And if you don't mind, we have about 25 people signed up, and I think there'll be more to come. So I really appreciate everyone signing up and engaging with us. The purpose of this initial conversation is to first go over some housekeeping items and then to get into some discussion about what people are doing to try and keep their business going and how it's going for several of you. And so to start, I want to let everyone know that we've made a decision that we're going to start. We're anticipating that the office is closing. A lot of the businesses around us are closing. Some of the other KWs are closing. And so at the very latest, we'll be closing the office at the end of the month. In the meantime, there's very few people coming in. And so we're going to basically be communicating going forward on these Zoom calls. And in our meeting this morning, again, this is a very fluid situation as we're listening to what school districts are doing, what the city council is doing in Portland and other locations. And my sense is that there's a high probability that we're all going to get quarantined here. So that's one of the reasons why we wanted to get on this Zoom method, and we enrolled in Zoom for the company. So we're going to have a Zoom call going forward through next week and indefinitely on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 10. So we're going to ask everyone to block out Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 o'clock. And during those times, we're going to have various content. So it'll probably start with housekeeping, and then we'll roll to the most important things that people want to talk about that are working in their businesses right now. And so, and we'll get into that today. And that way we can all stay in touch with each other, and we can all get ideas as the market is changing, and learn how to deal with some of our clients, buyers and sellers, and lenders and escrow as well. So we also want to impart things that we learn. This is going to be our forum to impart things that we're learning in terms of the behavior of our vendor partners, our mortgage companies. How are they going to get deals closed? Our escrow companies, how are they going to get deals closed? How are they going to get checks to us to get to you? So all of those things are going to become really, really critical in the next few weeks, and our forum will be this. So we ask that as you think of things that would be great for people to know, if you would email them to the office. It could come to anyone, but probably to Tanya. And then we'll be putting our calendars together for the conversations that we have. And we'll basically be answering questions, and we'll be asking our agents to answer those questions as well as they can. Presumably, we'll even get some guest speakers in as we get into this, but this could go on. I'm thinking this is going to go on for at least a month, and it could be 2 months, and then hopefully this will all subside, and we'll be coming back into the office, and business will start to look normal again. So anyway, this will be our venue. So please note in your calendars, excuse me, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 10 o'clock. Some of them will last 30 minutes. Some will last the whole hour. We'll keep them going as long as people want to talk. And if we don't have anything that's worthwhile, obviously people won't stay on the call. We understand that. Also want to let you know that Keller Williams, it's really amazing the way things are falling into place for Keller Williams, because they've been creating amazing technology, and they've been shifting everything to technology to have it be a technology-based company online. And that is starting right now. So you can literally dial into Connect right now. You can leave it on all day long, and all they're doing is switching content all day long. It's Heather was saying this morning, it's a little bit like a Jerry Lewis telethon in that, bringing in different speakers and having different topics, but the theme is going to be how we're going to be adjusting to the environment that we're in right now. So keep that in mind. Connect, that's going to be one of the coolest things about KW, is that you'll be able to just dial into Connect throughout the day, or leave it on and tune in to what you want to hear that you think will help you. So I think that's about it that I have for housekeeping things. Do you have anything else, Tanya?
No, I
Tanya,
think
do you have
that's pretty
anything
good
else for
for right now.
housekeeping? Yeah.
Good for right now.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get right into it. The main point of this conversation is to talk about how we're doing business and how we're going forward. And that's one of the reasons why when I was talking to Chris yesterday, I asked Chris to come because, you know, he was out engaging people and making calls and he had activity happening. So could I just start with you, Chris? Maybe, yeah, you know, a lot of people don't know who you are. Could you maybe just explain what you do for the Fox team and how you're working right now? What's been happening in the last couple of days?
Yeah. Uh, so my name's Chris Mers with the Fox Real Estate Group. Been in real estate for about 6 years now. And fortunately, with the Fox team, we're staying on top of this and we're talking every day, right? About how to handle what's going on because we're all taking it day by day, right? The most important thing that we're continuing to talk about is you still need to be running your business, right? We're 30 days away. Anyone in real estate is 30 to 60 days away from being out of business, right? And so the way to continue business is to do exactly what you've always been doing, whatever that is, right? If that's working your sphere, if that's calling for sale by owners and expireds, whatever that is, continue that. But most importantly, I kind of wanted to just touch on besides me just functioning business as normal, yesterday I was out showing homes to 2 different clients, you know, and yes, I was showing homes to some people in their late 70s, right? Because we're under contract to sell their home and they need to buy a new home. So they're pressed for time. So I'm just being very conscientious of how we're going about showing them homes, right? We're staying our social distance of 6 feet, right? We're wiping our hands, right? Every time we leave the house, I'm making sure I'm opening all doors, right? So we're just being as safe as possible. Okay.
Are they in your car?
They're not in my car.
Okay.
Yeah. Those people I'm being very conscientious with. And then, you know, another buyer I was showing homes to right after that. So, you know, business is still happening. People still need to buy. People still need to sell. We've been talking about in the office here, and I mean our team specifically, the Fox Real Estate Group, of how when we do head into a recession, which is what's happening currently, who knows how long it's going to be for, but real estate always lags by a few months. So currently, it's still a fantastic time to buy or sell. It hasn't changed from 2 weeks ago, right? The interest rates are still low. The inventory is still low. So it's still a great time to buy. So being proactive and talking to all your buyers and sellers that you're currently working with, being proactive and still working that pipeline, right, is really critical. But yeah, so I just wanted to chat mostly on 3 points, at least for all of us as real estate agents. One, be safe, ultimately. Like everyone, yes, be safe for your team, for your tribe, for your family, everyone. Be safe, okay? That's the most important thing we can be doing at this point. As real estate agents, we're leaders. People look up to us, right? So we need to be the voice of reason for everyone, okay? To be the voice of reason of safety for our tribe and for our family and for everyone that follows us on social media, right? How we work right now and our actions that we do short time today, week, 2 weeks, and more is not only good for our brand, but good for how people view us just long term, right? So don't put our heads in the sand. Still reach out to talk to people. It's really critical during this time, right? And then also, you know, mitigating risk as much as possible for all businesses, from, you know, high level to who we're working with currently to all the way down to the small business owners. Like, how can we help them, right? Doing those things. So currently our Fox team today, we're going to be highlighting all the small business owners that we love to work with, right? And saying, hey, don't forget about these small business owners, try and get some takeout from their restaurants, you know, those types of things to be able to show that we're leaders in this, you know, uncertain time. And the third kind of item I wanted to chat about is, so first, safety. Two, being a reason, being reasonably, being the voice of reason. Okay. And third would be on the backside of this. How do we want to look? Right. This doesn't feel like 2008, you know, and unfortunately it feels a lot more like 9/11, tragically, right? Which is a lot of fear and uncertainty. And during that time, right, everyone was saying, oh, we're never going to be able to fly planes again. We're never going to be able to get into planes again. Well, because we're strong, we did, and we are flying planes again. So, you know, moving forward, however we can do this, help everyone, be the voice of reason, show everyone that we're loving, we're compassionate, we're here to help, okay? But we are leaders, and step up and serve.
Hey, Chris, thank
Yeah.
you very much. That's great commentary. For the two homes the homes that you showed to your clients, did you run into any restrictions on showing those homes? Did you have any particular restrictions from the owners to set the tours up? So everybody was totally willing to have you come in.
Yes.
Awesome. Hey, Mark, can I switch to you really quickly, because I know you're communicating with your team at a high level.
Yeah.
Can you tell me what the important things are that you're doing with your team right now, and how that relates to your clients, like your sellers, your buyers?
Yeah, I mean, I think a few things, and having gone through, you know, I'd been in the business just about a year when '08 hit, right, and crashed, and battled through that. Felt blessed. The business grew a little bit, you know, during that rough time, and that was a long haul to get out. I think, like Chris said, this isn't going to be as long lived. There is the lagging effect in real estate of the economic stuff that's going to happen, but you know, this will bounce back, and I think it's going to. I personally think it's going to bounce back fairly strong when it does. But there's economic loss that will trickle on, right? I think a couple of key things to think about is this. Gary talked about in Gary's message that most of you probably heard. You know, he talked about just as contagious as this epidemic is so is panic, fear, and concern, right? Like terrible mindsets. Like these things are just as contagious. Like these will destroy us and your businesses, and you know the morale and things like that too. So we have to stay positive, and that goes right into you know, our clients. And when we talk about our business, you guys, you know, we need to continue to do what we know we need to do until you can't do it any longer, right? And still being safe, health first, cautious, putting our clients first, thinking through all those things. But yes, this isn't the natural tendency is for people to kind of, in any fearful situation, is to step back and to be conservative and to shrink up. You know, we were joking, like people want to just go crawl into their desk and take a nap for a year and like wake up, right? And wish this didn't happen. But here's the deal, guys. That's not what our clients need right now. Like this is a time of uncertainty, unknown, uneasiness, right? You know, people being unwilling and all those things. We talked about this in our meeting yesterday. The in all of those means the lack of, like it's missing. So we have to be that voice of reason. Like Chris said, we need to reach out to our clients and talk to them about things. We need to instill knowledge and educate them, make them feel comfortable, give them clarity what's going on. Because people that wanted to sell their house, what's crazy about this is 2 weeks ago, it was so different. Literally like 10 days ago. If someone wanted to sell their house 10 days ago, and this, let's just say this fog clears in 2 months, 3 months from now, it's even getting back to normal, they still want to sell their house. They want to sell their house 10 days ago. So we got to tie that back to their core motivation originally, calm them down, be the voice of reason. But the best thing you guys can do is to reach out to everybody. And this goes into the book of Shift, which we all should be reading through if you're not already right now, is, you know, one of the things in there is bulletproof your transaction. Like, first and foremost, look at every deal you have in escrow and make sure, am I doing everything? Am I communicating ahead of schedule with the other agent, with our clients to make sure that stays in escrow? Like that's, you know, we always face challenges in escrows with dealing with negotiations and repair addendums and extended closing dates. Hey, those things are all still there. They're just amplified right now. So we have to have a whole nother layer of like questions and concern and things to reach out, be proactive, guys. The worst thing you can do is your client reach out to you and say, hey, you know what? We're going to cancel. We're bailing. We're going to give up earnest money. We're done. Like reach out to them first, make sure they understand everything's on track. Everything's fine. Everything's going to close. You know, we got to answer a lot of questions they may have, or we may talk about some of those. I don't know, but it's our job to make sure that we're doing that. You guys, we can't afford not to. Your business can't afford not to. Right? We got to go through this really, really strong. Gary Keller made an analogy I sent out to our team yesterday. I remember it was at a mastermind. He said, you guys, let me ask you this. When you're facing a challenge, adversity, or something's going on in your world, compare it to a speed bump, right? You're going to get past it. Like, do you feel the speed bump more in your car when you're going 5 miles an hour or when you're going 100 miles an hour? Right? 5 miles an hour, your car shakes and jolts around and you like feel it, right? Kids are, hey! Because when you're going 100, it's just boom, boom, and gone. And you're past it. You barely feel it. So you got to ramp your business up right now like that. And there's things we can be doing behind the scenes, but how we come out of this, right, is going to be critical. Like, there's going to be pent up demand. You guys, I remember Lance Logan talking about when in Houston, massive team in Houston, but when the, I think it was the hurricane hit and it was devastation down there. Like, their business, they're closing they're closing 100 deals a month or something like that. Massive team. Like, they closed like 10 that month, right? And the homes that were left and could be sold. But he said, you know what's crazy is we stayed the course, and the next month when that kind of cleared and we could close and sign, and this stuff's going to happen to title too. Stuff's going to be pushed out, and everybody's going to have to be fair and understanding to push it out. But the next month he said, we doubled, and it was there for those homes in his situation that could be sold. So, but if they didn't stay the course, a lot of that would have went away. They weren't keeping those deals in escrow and keeping people calm, leading them, educating them. So there's going to be pent up demand. So make sure that we're focused on the right things. Specific things, Dwight, I can get, if you'd like, there's specific things I can talk about, but we just need to stay the course. We need to do the things we can do until we can't do them anymore.
Yeah, so I appreciate those comments. Mark, what I think we'd also like to hear is from the people who are out in the field right now, like, what are you doing with your, it's going to be a lot of points that we'll be talking about in this call, but what are you doing specifically to calm the nerves of your sellers? Have you made a specific plan to contact your sellers, or what are you doing with sellers whose homes you have listed?
I'll just say something on that real quick, and then somebody else can. So guys, reach out to them first, right? Put them at ease. Ask what their concerns may be. Address every one of the concerns. You guys, when we sit down with a seller at the kitchen table after doing a walkthrough, we say, what are the three most important things to you to sell your home? We say that so we critique and we change and modify our listing presentation to focus on those three things. This is the same thing. We have to ask questions and focus on what their concerns are, right? Don't assume they have 20 concerns. They might just have 2. Address those 2, right? Here's the deal. If the last thing we're going to want to do is take their home off the market and withdraw it. We talked about yesterday, like, help them understand why leaving their home on the market and maybe just having no showings for 2 weeks might be the best thing. You guys, with over 90% of people going to the internet for their first view and where they're starting, let that online traffic continue. Let the phone conversations. Mr. Seller, we're going to keep a list of people that are interested in your home, looking online, no showings the next 2 weeks while you guys stay safe. And we're going to have this pent up, built up demand for your home of buyers that are interested. And when it opens, floodgates are going to come. I don't know, maybe we'll get multiple offers. But let that activity continue, right? If your home is off the market, it will never sell. We just
Everyone's going to be home. Everyone's going to be home. And what are they going to be doing? Looking on the internet. What are they going to see? Show them open houses. Show them your listings. Do walkthroughs, whatever you can.
Yep.
Yeah, to that point, Mark, I met with someone last week, and their question was, he got laid off recently, and their question was, should we come on the market now, or should we wait until later in the spring? And to your point exactly, I said, look, I would be getting on the market ASAP. And I showed him the inventory page. We talked about it, but I actually have a follow-up meeting with him. I'm going to show him the inventory page and the Altos reports to show them that this is a time to be on the market when people have free time to be looking at the homes that they're going to view as soon as they're free to get out of their houses. So, I would get everything on the market that I could right now.
Because Gary always talks about real estate being a lagging market. Chris mentioned that as well. Because here's the deal, like, not a lot's changed right now. If someone wants to sell their home in the next year, I think it's probably going to be better to do it in the next 3 to 4 months than it is in 8. In 8, stuff is going to start showing up from the effects of this economically.
Yep.
There's a window. Take advantage of it.
Yep. Anyone else on those thoughts on the listing side?
Yeah. So specifically, it's I guess for cases like this, right? Even going above from just having photos and doing the pretty, video, which costs us additional money, you can just have the photos done, the professional photos done, but then walk around with your cell phone, right? Before anything further does happen. And anyone that's super interested, they're going to reach out to you, and you can then send them a virtual tour of you actually walking through the home, right? So that's saving you money, and it's allowing them to virtually walk through the home. So just another idea, which I'm going to be utilizing with a couple of my listings.
That sounds great. So I would highly advise everyone to be looking at the Altos reports. You can track what's happening in the inventory in your particular market, and you can see that the inventory is not really increasing. This is the time. This whole market's going to be shifted back. So, I would be asking my owners to come on the market immediately and just sit on the market, but I would set the right expectations about what the showings might be. And to that end, I would tell you that I talked to Denise Broheski earlier in the week, and she was showing some property, commercial property, and that owner asked that everyone wear gloves and masks. And so the tours were set up, and everyone had to prepare that was coming into the property. So I wouldn't expect that at all. In fact, that seems like a tool to be able to lay any concerns that an owner might have with people coming in to tour his home. What if you say, hey, look, we can get gloves on everyone, we can get masks, we can have them put the booties on at the door, and then they can go through, and can people live with that? Any other ideas along those lines? Hey, Beth, you have to unmute yourself.
Unmute.
There you go.
How's that? Okay.
So the question is, where do you get a mask? They don't even have them in the hospital.
Yeah, so we have to watch that.
We can't offer that, I don't think.
Yeah, at the moment we can't. I know that I heard that they're like running the production lines 24/7 right now to get those N95 masks out. So that may not be a possibility. That owner had them, and so what other ideas are there? That's what we're here for today.
So I was out with showing properties yesterday with customers, and I developed a protocol with all my buyers. First part of the conversation is, are you comfortable riding in my car, or do you want to take your own? And talk about social distancing and the 6 feet and all of that. Both of these customers, I've been working with them for a while. They've ridden in my car. They both made the choice to take their own car because they just felt it was safer for all of us. So, have the conversation. What's your comfort level? What do you want to do? And then I've put together a little kit that I take with all my showings. It has wipes that when I get the key out of the door, I make sure my buyers are standing there with me. I wipe off the doorknob. I make sure I'm opening the door. I carry a bag with me that those wipes go into. And I caution them not to touch anything in the house if they possibly can. And then just before we leave, I have soap and I have towels. I invite them to wash their hands, and I wash my hands, and we put all of that in the bag and take all of that outside the house. It's like, leave no trace. And I leave a note for the seller that says, this is the protocol that we've followed. Thank you very much for allowing us to show your home. And one seller contacted me yesterday and said, thank you very much for doing that. We have been concerned about people coming into our house, but we really want to sell. And we didn't know who to talk to because their realtor didn't talk to them about protocol. So my takeaway from that is that every listing you should have a protocol, preferably written. What's your comfort level? How is it okay for us to bring someone into your home? Do you want to do the cleaning? Do you want to ask them to wear gloves? Do you want to ask to have booties on? What's comfortable for you? if you're going to continue showings. And I think that's where the empowerment comes from for our buyers and sellers. And then secondly, I think that as realtors, we're all leaders in our community in one way or another. So on my Facebook pages, I'm compiling a list of all the restaurants that are serving takeout. What are their hours? How can you connect with them? And reminding people it isn't for just this week, it's 30 long days. So maybe you don't go to all the restaurants this week, put it on your calendar for the following week, And if we, as leaders, don't support our local businesses beyond our industry, when all of this is over, we're not going to have those kind of amenities to sell our communities. So I think we just all have to be really careful about we're all in this together and to be proactive about it.
I think that's awesome. Hey, I'm getting in the chat side of this. Thank you, Bradley. So Bradley is saying, and you can wave, Bradley, so everyone knows who you are, right? That we could get a mask from Amerispec if we agree to get the final inspection from them. And you know, there are market center partners, right? So hopefully you've met Gordon. He's the candy man that supplies candy, and he's in the market center. His son Brian's doing inspections for my team. So there you go, Peter. There's a great way to maybe be proactive and see how many boxes of masks you can talk him out of.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on that? Any other conversations with sellers on how you're preparing them, how you're regulating showings?
Dwight.
Yeah. Hi, Terry.
Hi. So I bought a bunch of latex gloves online. So I have like a basket at my listing right now. It's got latex gloves that I have all of the buyers and the agents, they have to wear them in the house. And then I put in a little Ziploc bag, you know, Clorox wipes. And I've asked the agents, and I talked to them about it too, you know, please wear the gloves, take them, you know, there's a garbage can right there. And when you're done, you need to make sure you wipe off the doors the front door and as you're walking out the door, so that that's all taken care of. So everyone's wearing gloves on my listings right now.
Awesome.
And we're not doing open houses. But it makes my sellers feel very comfortable.
That's another great idea. So you have the waste can outside the door, and so they can just peel everything off and dump it in the waste can and be on their way after they've wiped the door off.
Yep.
That's a great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea.
So I don't know if you can still get the gloves online, but I ordered them through Amazon and got them like within a day and a half.
Yeah.
So.
There's probably other places you can get these. I know that one of the less frequented stores is it's an office supply companies, right? They realize this is happening, and so now they're stocking up on gloves. So I suspect if they're still open, right, in a couple of weeks, we'll be able to get them there and get them to our listings. So another great idea. Thank you. Anyone else? How about, let's move on to conversations with people. Mark, you started on this, but how about conversations with people who are calling? I've had calls from people who are calling saying, just wondering if I need to be thinking about selling my house right now. And so Mark alluded to this, and it's exactly the conversation I've been having with a few people, which is if we're headed into a recession, and you think about kind of a bell curve of prices, you know that the prices price changes are not a light switch. They're a process, they're a progression. And so if you think about a bell curve, it's highly likely that the deeper this gets, the harder it will be to exact a really high price later. So how about your take on that? Anyone have any takes on that conversation with people?
I was on a Zoom call yesterday with a pretty big group, and David Hoffman, who is Mark's coach, and I know you know him quite well, he was just addressing this subject. And we're going into a recession. I think that's pretty clear right now. And so once the numbers start coming out, we'll we'll see what quarter one does, but quarter two is for sure going to be negative growth. So that's something that we need to be ahead of, because consumer confidence is going to be going down as soon as those numbers start coming out. So we want to be ahead of that in terms of listing properties in 2020. So getting everything on the market by the end of June is going to be really crucial, because once consumer confidence reports start coming out and the numbers are starting to go down, that's going to lead to buyers just getting out of the market and sellers not necessarily wanting to sell and hunkering down. So that's kind of some of the overall pieces of that. And then also, if you do have people who are investors, now may be the appropriate time to be talking to them about their investment properties and putting those on the market to sell, to get that cash out, to save up and then put into the stock market, because the market is going to continue to go down for a while. And then, so kind of like swapping those investments back and forth as the market shifts. So get that money out of real estate, put in the stock market while stocks are low, and then put it back up, or put it back into real estate in the next 3 to 5 years once the real estate market recovers. So that's something I'm going to be talking to my investors about.
Yeah, that's a good point, because I'll just bring this up too. You may have an investor that thinks that exact same way, and keep in mind on tax deferred exchanges that if it needs to be like for like, right? So if you sell your investment property and you take that money and you put it in the stock market, you're going to pay tax on your gain. But there's another option on that too. And I had a lot of clients do this in the various downturns that we've had. And that is, you put your investment property on the market now and you sell it, and then you have 6 months to close on the next property. And if you think about the time of year that we're in, you're potentially selling it in or closing it in May, June, July, and then you get the winter to buy. And so in the winter, we're going to see, if we're headed into recession, we're going to see, consumer confidence drop. We're going to see, some level of the stock market. We don't know what that will be yet. And so the odds are the prices will be better. So that's a great way with real estate to step up your investment and take advantage of timing.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
Totally agree. And one more thing on that. Just anecdotally, I've been out showing property the last couple of days. I've written 3 offers. Everything has been multiple offer situation. So like, it's super busy out there. So if you have clients who are like, oh gosh, do we want to go on the market now? Like, yes, put it on the market immediately. Sorry, Mark.
It's almost, and for buyers, you guys, we're going to get buyers to say, hey, I'm going to wait and take advantage of this if it goes down, because they're going to think that's long lived. It's going to take a while. Guys, interest rates are low. It's almost like the winter months, right? When we talk about this, if someone has their house on the market now, or as they do in the winter, they need to sell. They're not doing it for fun. They're not doing it to just test the market. It's not easy. So there's bigger motivation. So buyers might get a better deal. So capitalize on the interest rates now. Don't let buyers push you out and say, I'm going to wait and see what happens. Right? And the same thing with sellers. Like, hey, you flip that around. The same thing we talk about in the winter. It could be in the winter, we talk about traffic with open houses, different deal. We're dealing with circumstances now, but the buyers that are out there looking are serious. Like, they need to buy. We got to focus on those that need to, and then there's those that want to. 2 different pools. We got to kind of address them a little bit differently, but capitalize on those that have the needs and the now market, like Megan said, and David said, that the lagging will catch up to us down the road here.
Yeah, and that's a very good point, Mark. And this is actually one of the very, very basic survival techniques of getting through something like this. And that's to find the clients that are motivated, whether they're buyers or sellers, right? The last thing you want to do is have a client that says, well, I'll buy something if the timing is right. And the other client says, well, we have to buy a home because we just transferred to Portland to take a new job to turn a company around. And so identifying the people that have the highest motivation is the surest chance of getting a closing. Any other thoughts, anyone?
I'll just say this as a general message and thought, having got the crash in 08, guys, is it's going to require more work. It's going to require doing things differently. Like, put in the work and you will come out of it and double your business. Like, this is where you make your mark, right? There's that quote that says, like, if you want to change your world, you must be your best in the darkest moments. Like, this is that time. It's not the sky's not falling. We got to be the voice of reason with our clients too, because this is when you will, as Gary says, get your unfair share. If you just continue to do the same things, your business will go down, right? If your business has been great, and you do the same things, your business is going to go down. You have to do something different, do more of it. And like your finances, your business, your life will like thank you 6 months from now. Like you're going to be, I'm so glad I did. Because if you wait until you start seeing indicators to change your habits and your activities, your lead gen, it's going to be too late. Like get ahead of it.
Yeah, this is when you build clients for life right now.
Yep.
You're building trust right now because you are being that person who's there. Don't be calling necessarily for business, be calling to check in and see just what's going on in their life and how you can be of assistance, because nobody's doing that. People are calling, like, call the people you know want to do business about business, but call everybody, like literally everyone you've ever met. I've had more good conversations and been able to just kind of reassure people that the world is not falling apart, at least in terms of what I am an expert in, and that's real estate. And I think that's really helpful to get that. So not text messages, not emails, but like voice to voice. Or
so, and that's another great point right now. So as we might be home and, quarantined to our homes or whatever the activity ends up being, calling, you're saying just call everybody, right? Everybody in your sphere, everyone that you know that will listen and be the voice of reason, right? And the voice of strength. Right.
100%.
And those people, some of those people who won't be in real estate will be your referrals, just like with Beth's situation where, she's proactively telling the sellers whose homes she's showing how she's taking care of them. She's going to get those listings if they don't sell. Right, Beth? Unmute yourself, Beth. Can you do it? There you go. All right.
I think the other really important aspect of this is we have to put our community first. In the long run, yes, it supports us, and in the long run, yes, we will generate business from it. But above all, we're human beings in a community that's just on the verge of chaos. And this morning, I had, I think, 6 different texts and phone calls from clients of mine, past and future, that are working moms, most of them single moms, working moms that now have unexpected kid challenges. They're going to have kids in their home for the next 60 days or whatever it is through April 28th. And so I was just bombarded this morning with, who do you know that's doing an online academy? Who do you know we can't get our kids together, but our kids need social. I mean, this is a whole aspect of what's happening that I hadn't really given thought to, that I'm going to give some thought to today. There's got to be some resources we can pull together that, like I had a happy hour with friends 2 nights ago that we were all on our laptops and did this FaceTime Zoomy kind of thing and had our beverage of choice and had happy hour. We just weren't in the same building. So I'm wondering if there isn't some kind of resource that we can offer to parents that now, and they're not necessarily little kids, but again to teenagers, that have to have some kind of educational experience or have to have some kind of activity, and parents still need to work. I mean, it's a big package, but I think, again, as leaders, we have to put our community first, make those phone calls, not just to the elderly, but to everyone. Are you okay? What do you need? Are you able to get to the grocery store? Can I pick something up for you and drop it on your porch? Those kinds of things will ultimately lead to business in the future, but that can't be our focus right now. It's staying healthy and keeping our community healthy.
Yeah, great ideas. So has anyone used Marco Polo? Jenny, where'd you go? Oh, there you are. You have to unmute. There we
Sorry.
go.
I've been checking in with my sphere here in my neighborhood using Marco Polo, and it's been really fun because a lot of moms are home with kids. They're getting stir crazy and lonely, and like Beth said, I'm just kind of checking in to see how people are doing, not looking for business necessarily. Although I have a listing that just sold last week, and I have a buyer who's looking to buy in the neighborhood, and there are no listings that fit her criteria right now. And so I've been reaching out to other agents that work in our neighborhood, and I've found 2 that aren't listed yet. So I'm trying to get creative with finding houses, and it's been successful.
Perfect. Hey, as a side note, so I'm reading some of the chats, and I think this is Gary that's saying, hey, keep in mind your clients may have commercial needs. And the commercial market does phase differently generally with the real estate market. So historically, the commercial market does not cycle exactly like the real estate market. The real estate market is a little, residential real estate's a little more sensitive to these interest rate swings. And so, you know, this time it may, but I will tell you something interesting because I'm reading that chat. Yesterday, I got 2 referrals. 2 people called me to see if I knew someone that could sell their building. So one was an auto parts store that was going out of business and the building needed to be sold. And the other one was a restaurant business that was closing and the building needed to be sold. And all the equipment is included. And so I'm going to be sending those over, I think, to probably to Tyler in the commercial group and maybe Gary. But isn't that something to get 2 of those in a day? You think about McMenavins closing all the McMenavins and laying everyone off. Is that a source of business where we can be reaching out to our clients and just asking them about commercial needs? What about the law that Multnomah County just put into effect in the city of Portland where you can't evict tenants? So if you have clients that own buildings in Multnomah County, city of Portland, and their tenants know that they can't be evicted and they've been laid off, who do you think they're going to pay? They're not going to pay their rent. So what happens to these landlords? We may see landlords that decide this is the time to sell. Maybe they were thinking about it anyway, but they decide that this is the straw that breaks the camel's back because they have a whole bunch of people in their buildings that are not paying rent. And so, you know, interest rates are low, cap rates are low, prices are high. Let's go on the market and see if we can sell this 6-plex or this 10-plex or whatever it is. So that's going to be an emerging source of business, which is just, you know, something that we're seeing in this economy that maybe, you know, that's driven by Corona that maybe hasn't been witnessed before in the last downturn so much, or in 9/11, or, you know, some of the other crashes that we've had. All right, any other thoughts on that? Where do we look for listings right now? That's what we're talking about. Where do we look for listings? We're calling everyone in our sphere, Megan. I think that's an awesome idea. So while we're home, can we do Marco Polo with our clients? We're setting up Zoom so that everyone in the office can use it. So you can start having Zoom calls with your clients. You'd send them an email, say there's a button to push, they download the app, you can get on a call with them from your home office and talk to them about what's going on in the real estate market, right? We use Marco Polo for our family. That's another good one. You can post a message and leave it on Marco Polo, and then everyone can look at it when they want. It's a video message. Worked really well for us when Connor was traveling the world because he would come up for air and then post a message for us, and then, you know, we would see it at different times. So that's an awesome way to communicate with people. All right, anything else?
On that note, I think the video component is really important because it makes your clients feel like you're connected, right? Just like we're all feeling more connected now because we're on video. So I love, Jenny, that you've been using Marco Polo. And then Megan, can you share, I think you had a story recently how you've been using Zoom for clients, right?
I've been using FaceTime mostly because most of my people have iPhones, but happy to use Zoom now that we have access to it. I do a ton of relocation business, so I'm super comfortable doing FaceTime showings to begin with, but I am offering that service to all clients as well as just buyer consultations and listing consultations via FaceTime or now Zoom or whatever we have available to us as resources for those who aren't comfortable meeting face to face, or if things get a little bit more constrained, just so that you're getting in front of the people that you need to be getting in front of. I love the idea of doing Marco Polo. I haven't played with it much, except Jenny sends me a bunch of messages on it. So I'll probably start experimenting with that over the coming days. I think it's just, and I agree in being the community resource with what Beth was saying. It's not just about real estate. I feel like everybody touts like, oh, we're community experts. Oh, we support our communities. Like now is really the time to step up and show that on a very personal level for whatever clients may be doing. Like I've some folks who homeschool regularly. So I've asked her if she can send me some tips for those who aren't used to doing that, that I can share with other parents who are now teachers when they didn't sign up to be.
Cool. All right. Can we move to, we have about, let's say 10 minutes left. Can we move to ways to keep deals together? I don't know how many of you are getting calls on your transactions where buyers are either terminating or thinking about terminating, but I think it's worthwhile. I did a couple of short videos because I've had a few of these myself here, and what it's doing is jogging my memory from 2008 on how we were able to keep some deals together and trying to, conjure up some of these old ways of keeping deals together. So I did want to put this in the message. Part of the reason is because we're taping this, right? So that whoever's not on it, we have like 41 people on it, which is amazing. Thank you so much. We're going to tape this and you're going to be able to access it later. I'm going to send it out to recruiting candidates, people that I've been in discussion with, and say, look, this is what's going on in our office. What's your office doing? Why don't you tap into this? It's full of some really good ideas of what a lot of our top producing people are doing. And so keep in mind that Kareen's on the line. She's our new team leader. She is going to be using this market. This is a gold mine market for her. So this is a total counter-cyclical activity. And so she's going to be recruiting like crazy. And if you want to be able to use the information in this meeting to send it to some of the agents that are maybe working in small offices where they're not even doing anything, or offices that are even larger that are closed, this will make a difference for people. So anyway, to that end, how about keeping deals together right now? Mark, are you seeing, you probably have several escrows. Are you seeing cancellations? What are you talking about in that area?
We haven't had a ton. I mean, we've had a few people that are overseas and out of the country and delays there. I think what we've got to do is, I mean, it's been said already, is we got to be the voice of reason. We got to take them back to the motivation they had when they were either buying or selling. Here's the deal. I think most people believe, unless you're massively economically impacted because of this, which a lot of people will be, like life will get somewhat back to normal in 2, 3, 4, 5 months. I mean, we don't know. Like at some point it will, right? China's leading that curve, and that's the light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully. But real estate's a long-term purchase investment. Like people aren't doing this because they want the results in the next 2 months. Like we got to keep that in mind. We got to remind them of that. Like they're buying because rates are low. They're buying because they need a bigger home because of their family. Like unless they're dramatically economically impacted, take them back to that core motivation. Like we have to, that they had literally 10 days ago, 14 days ago. Like ask questions. What are the concerns? And then we have to be able to handle those. Right? That's the objection handling, or the voice of reason, or the understanding piece of it, and get real, get relational, lead them. You guys, if we just said, hey, do whatever you want, it's up to you, and we just let them take the lead, like, yes, it'll impact your business, but it may not be the decision they're happy with 6, 8, 10 months from now. Because when this does pass, they're going to still want to wish they were in that bigger home. They still were wanting to downsize. They still were wanting to cash out. Whatever reason they have in this originally, that's take them back to that core motivation, I'd say. I think everybody will, like the humanity in people is going to come out. Like if a deal needs to get extended, people are going to be more willing to understand that, right? If someone needs early occupancy, which we don't really ever like, I think people humanly are going to be more reasonable and realistic with that. I mean, someone might rather keep their home in escrow and close 30 days later, or have to close 30 days later, than to not. And so don't let timelines and the deadlines pressure people, I think, too. Some thoughts?
Yeah, and those are good ideas. I know I was talking to Pam yesterday. I don't know if she's on the line or not, but she has one where her buyers bought a $1.5 million house, and their plan was to move into it and then sell their $550,000 house. And her buyers were saying this is, scaring the heck out of them, everything that's going on, questioning the decision, et cetera. When I talked to her yesterday, because we've talked a few times about possible, solutions, she said that it looks like everyone's agreeing to extend the closing to give people more time to get through this negative news and get hopefully on the backside of this. And so obviously, you mentioned that doing extensions may be an answer. I know we were doing that in 9/11, right? Trying to figure out, what was happening to the world in 9/11. Was it the beginning of something worse, or, was it a one-time event? And it worked, right? Because within 30 days, we were pretty settled back in the United States. I will give you some tips of things. And this is what for the last part of the meeting, I'd love to have everyone say, this is what I just did on a deal. So I will tell you that I received an email on Monday that someone was terminating a $1.1 million sale. The buyers were terminating a $1.1 million sale. So what I did was, I didn't really have confidence in the realtor that the realtor would be able to convey my thoughts. And so I wrote an email and I directed it to the realtor and Mr. and Mrs. Buyer. And in the email, I cited the things that you were just talking about, Mark, which was, according to your original letter when you made the offer, that this is the home of your dreams. You've always loved it driving through the neighborhood. It was the first time you were going to be able to move, and it was perfect timing. And so I pointed out that, the way real estate works, it's never perfect at the perfect moment, right? All the pros know that. It just doesn't happen very often. And these people were writing in their original letter that they were going to raise their kids there. So in my letter, I said, look, this family bought this home. I sold it to them in 2005, and they didn't care what happened in 2008. The value probably dropped 30-35%. We really don't know. They didn't care. They were raising their family. And then as the rates came down, they were able to refinance, and then the market came back up, and now their kids are off to college. So that was that was one of the value points. And then on that one, my sellers were willing to put $24,000 into escrow and allocate it at $2,000 a month to the buyer if the buyer got laid off, because that's what he was worried about. There were rumblings at his company that he was going to get laid off. And so I did this many, many times, especially for my builders in 2008. We left money in escrow and we said, if you get laid off, his name was Lincoln, if you get laid off, we'll allocate $2,000 a month to you for every month you're laid off. So if you're laid off for 9 months, you get $2,000 a month for 9 months. And that actually amortized $500,000 worth of loan, which was half their loan payment. And so when the realtor got it, she actually returned my phone call and said, oh my gosh, thank you. I just felt so bad. I didn't even want to call you. I just sent the email over. This is a fantastic idea. So, I'm hoping that when we have these meetings, we can be throwing, specific solutions out to people that they can remember when they start getting these phone calls, if they do. Hopefully we won't see a lot of them, but you just don't know when they start talking about everyone staying in their homes potentially. So what else? Who else got another idea?
Hey, Dwight, along those lines, this is times we always say no good decision is made rashly. Like when we're making important decisions like this, gather the info, step back, think through it, call someone else in the company, whatever it is, like talk to other people about this stuff. That agent wasn't thinking. Half the time we got to manage other goofball agents out there to help keep stuff together. Like think through that stuff. Dwight came up with an amazing solution there that agent probably never would have thought of, right? Or maybe a newer agent wouldn't thought of, right? That's why we're resources as a company and a team. So I think that's important to not make quick decisions, just go, oh crap, and throw in the towel and be done.
Yeah, that's exactly who we are, right? We share these ideas. We're trying to keep everybody successful. So Thank you, Mark, for bringing that up. And to that end, I'm thinking, as I hear these things, I may leave short videos that people can just save for a future date in case they get that email. They can go back and say, okay, which of those ideas, which one was it? And then, maybe be able to listen and get it figured out. How about you, Kim? You've been quiet.
Video. The one thing that I really think is important, and Mark just hit on it, you talked about it too, like you gave one example of thinking outside the box.
Correct, yeah.
So we need to be doing that. We need to, think about all the options, right? And outside the box. Sometimes I hear agents, well, that won't work. This, they are within the lines, right? We got to be a little bit creative on some of the solutions here.
I think that's great. Kim, how busy are you, Kim? Seemed like a few days ago you were going crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I have a lot of listings that are coming online. I have listings that I have going. I just, talk about trying to save a deal. I have the home 2.2 million that I have the buyers on, and it's being built. And they were going to, per the agreement, they were going to finance part of it with an asset-based loan from their investments. Well, the stock market went crazy. Their intention, though, was never to really use that asset-based loan. They own a home 100% in Boston, and they were going to sell that and use those funds. But, it's just crazy right now. And so we kind of changed that out and had a discussion, and they're actually going to use a conventional now with the rates so low. And that's where I'm just saying, talk to them, work through it. Luckily, their motivation, and this guy is a finance guy, he knows his stuff. He just said, we're taking the long view. Like, we're going to love this home. And yes, we'll get through this. And so we still want to buy it, but cash is king. So we're going to change out our balance sheet a little bit. But that's where you just have to think of all the options. And
and that's where it's important to call people, right?
And just work through it, right? And not hope that I don't get an email from him saying, oh, we're not going to buy it. Be proactive.
Perfect. I've had one of those, I can tell you, in the past where I went to the owners and the owner said, okay, look, we weren't sure where we're going to move. So instead of having those people get an asset-based loan, we'll just carry a second. We'll carry the second ourselves. They close on the first. We get 80% of our money. We'll carry the second for 20%. When they sell their home, we'll give them 6 months to sell their home across the country. When they come out, they can pay us all back. And so that allowed the people to stay in their home, have their new mortgage payment covered. The sellers were they already had the 20% equity. They got 80% of the rest, and they knew their home was sold, and they knew they were going to move. So this is where people that have been through the downturn, might have a little bit of an advantage in that we've had to do this. All of us have had to call each other and say, what can I do here? How can I do this? Any other ideas? Peter?
I don't really have too much to add at the moment, other than thinking outside the box is critical. And me and my quotes, 95% of life is attitude, the other 5% is attitude. There's a little bit of health in here, but if we keep positive and keep moving forward, again, with the hopefully short-term impact of having to dramatically change the way we do business. But keep going.
Awesome. Hey, Josh, are you on the line? Oh, there you are.
I am on the line.
Speak up, Josh. Looks like you may have something to say about what's going on in the mortgage market.
So things are moving quickly, and they continue to move. We haven't had any problems with title or getting things recorded. All the title partners that we've talked to are continuing to fund deals. They're really busy. They're open. Notaries are still available and taking care of business to take care of your clients. Obviously, they've had an influx of refinances, but our title folks, along with us, we are still prioritizing all of our purchases and making sure that your clients are taken care of ahead of that business. So things continue to move. I'd like to say that a lot of great points brought up. I loved what Chris talked about at the beginning and Mark sort of reiterated. about keep on doing the things that have made you successful, but also start thinking outside the box. I'd like to just add to that working with your sphere and your past clients. A lot of you have large databases, large spheres. Those are going to be extremely important during this time. Can you continue to reach out? That Marco Polo thing, I haven't experienced that yet, but I may be checking that out as well. I think that's awesome. Rates are all over the place right now. They're up, they're down, sideways. Who knows? It depends on the day, but they are down overall, and so it continues to be strong in that respect. People talk a lot about buying in the same market that you're selling in. So the folks that may be hesitant maybe to put their house on the market, now may be the best time for them to do that. As you're reaching out to your sphere, to your past clients, they may want to know what is the impact that what's going on in the world right now is having on my value. Well, you're that resource for them to let them know, what their value looks like right now and how they could take advantage and leverage that for their next step if they choose to. So that's about all I've got to add, but things continue to move. If anybody's got, questions, what if scenarios that they want to run by, please reach out anytime. I'll be available to all of you whenever you need me. So please.
Awesome. I wanted to put something out there. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
This is Gary. Just really quick, this is a great opportunity outside of just the normal business opportunity. This is time to dive into social media, to get your business more out onto social media, to get into command, to learn as much as you can as you have the extra time, because we're saving so much time on travel. You might as well take that extra time and push it into learning about how you can adjust your business and grow it. From the commercial side, deals are still going. Yes, I'll tell you that Multnomah County, that new rule in Multnomah County is going to be an interesting one to follow to see how that impacts the owners. And I suspect that there's going to have to be some conversations with mortgage companies going forward on reduction of payments. I know that I've talked with a number of people who've told me already from the commercial side that they are already getting calls from their tenants asking for reduction, and this is on the commercial side of things. So like retail, office, industrial, people are already reaching out to the owners to say, hey, can we get a reduction? Our business is down. But I think this is a great, opportunity to shift the way you're doing business and make it more efficient. And, there's so many wonderful opportunities to take breaks during the day, hang out with your kids, if you're a musician, pick up an instrument and just really enjoy some of the quietness and the slowdown that's taking place in day-to-day life. So if you need any commercial help, give me a call. I'm still communicating with all my guys and girls, and we are we're still moving forward. And on the other side, the same thing with the commercial mortgage stuff. The commercial mortgage realm is still moving as well. I'm talking with banks constantly, and we're still doing deals. So things are still moving along, just in a different way. So hang in there. Everything's good.
Awesome.
Oh,
all right.
Just one thing.
Hey, everybody. Go ahead, Megan.
Sorry, just one thing on what Gary was saying. If you are so inclined, I would suggest calling your local representatives and state senators to start talking about mortgage relief efforts. I think that's an important thing that we should be doing right now, because a lot of people in our community are going to be suffering. So if that speaks to you, now is a good time to be doing that. And then also sharing those numbers within your communities if other people feel so inclined to make those calls, because they need to be hearing both from us professionals as well as their constituents.
Perfect. Tanya?
Okay, so a couple things. I have Austin working on a social media post that is a 4-step process. I saw it from team leader Jen up in Washington. And it's just a really great graphic, letting our clients know what we're doing and how we're still working and how we're there for them. And you'll be able to edit it. He's going to create it as a PDF. You'll be able to upload it into Command and edit it in Designs. So very clean, great graphic. And if you're having trouble with that, just let Austin or myself know. And then the other thing is, I don't know if anyone saw it on the sidebar in the chat that I talked about using the DTD2, which is this call sheet. So if anyone needs that to utilize the alphabet in making sure you're reaching out to everybody but not overwhelming yourself, maybe instead of the 13-week cycle, we do it on like a weekly cycle, or every 13 days instead of 13 weeks to reach out to all your people, of course, depending on how big your database is. But
okay, so remember, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, the office is going to host these 10 o'clock Zoom calls for updates. So if you have questions, you need anything answered, you want to brainstorm on an idea, please join the call. Send us an email if you have a topic you want several people to be prepared to talk about, so we can really juice these conversations. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, we will have another one on this Friday, that means. And, good luck to everyone. Keep the deals together and keep working and reach out to your clients. Thank you so much. Talk to you later.
Bye.
Bye. Thanks, everyone. Have a great day.